Hello, everybody. Anthony here. Welcome back to another stupendous episode of the Single Parents Podcast. This is the podcast for anybody whose life may have turned out a little less than traditional. Glad to have you all today. Sorry, I was actually just like on my phone like 2 seconds before recording, looking at my Tinder, because I have gotten like what 3 matches this week, which is pretty good actually for me. But I'm not even exaggerating. Each one of those matches led to conversations that, in my opinion, were the basic standard conversation that you have to start getting to know somebody on Tinder, on the apps, and I thought it was going fine, but out of nowhere, each and every one of them just ended. Like, I asked like a question, didn't get a response. I would like make a statement that was like leading to like more stuff we could talk about. Didn't get a response. One of the girls, even, I guess, I don't know. I think honestly, she was like in a nice, trying to be subtle way, asking me about my height, because I guess she's a taller gal. And I'm not like a short king or anything like that. I think I'm average height. But I just basically shared the information about that part of myself with her and basically got nothing back. So that's been my week. Hope you all are doing well. If you don't want to be like the ladies in my Tinder DMs, then what you could do is you could actually maybe consider sticking around. Maybe you could actually hang out with me for a little bit. And there's a few ways that you can guarantee that that's going to happen. The first thing is just to make sure that you're subscribed on the show, you turned on automatic downloads, you're all set so you never miss an episode in the future. The second thing, to really make sure that you yourself are really participating in the show. You're engaged. You're helping us build the community. Is what you could just share. You could share the podcast. That's what I'm building up to. Share the podcast. Share the podcast with the friend, with the family member, with the neighbor, with somebody that maybe you're talking to on Tinder before they completely just stop replying to any of your messages for no reason whatsoever. You could do that, and that would be greatly appreciated. And then last but not least, if you feel so inclined to do so, if you want to not make me feel more rejected than I already have today, then maybe consider rating the podcast 5 stars, the highest rating that you can give it on your favorite podcast hosting platform. So the algorithms out there know that, hey, this show's legit. We should probably pass it along to more people.
Something to relate to.
All right. Well, so for the video consumers of this podcast, you can see that I have a guest with me today. But for the audio listeners, I have my boy Zeus, the French bulldog, here joining us today as my little guest star. Zeus, how are you doing today? What do you need to say to the people? Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I could publish that. That might be that might get you canceled, bro. I don't know if you could say that these days. But yes, I have Zeus, the French bulldog here. Just because I wanted him to hang out with us, and mostly because I was actually thinking about, the single parent life. Shocker, host of a single parent podcast, thinking about single parent life and realities and stuff like that. And I'm always thinking through that stuff. For, oh, you need a scratch on the chin? Is that what you need? Okay. So hold on, people. He needed a scratch on the chin. So we're going to oblige. This is his payment for being on the show. It's what his agent negotiated. So I got to make sure we take care of that. Um, I was just thinking through, different aspects of the life so we can talk about it on the show, so we can keep things fresh, keep things hot. And I think through different dynamics, right? I think through different dynamics when it comes to us as the single parents. I think through different dynamics when it comes to our kids and their perspectives and the people that we date's perspectives. But then I was looking at my old good boy here and I was like, you know what? I have never really thought about the single parent reality through the perspective of maybe some of our furry friends who live in the house with us, our pets, our homies, our four-legged amigos. Because I guess I was thinking of this because the other day, he came with me to pick up the girls from school because their mom just asked that I just pick them up from school because she was running a little late from work. And so I was like, sure, I'd like to go get the girls and say hi. And so I was getting ready to leave my house, and this guy, Zeusy boy, with his big old eyes, looked up at me, and I could just tell that he knew where I was going. He was like, "Oh, are you gonna go pick up my sisters? Are you gonna go see the girls?" Because this past week rather, this has been a week when they've been with their mom, so they've been with their mom all week. So he hasn't seen them in a few days. And so I was like, you know what? As excited as I am also to go see the girls because I haven't seen them in a few days. I bet Zeus, I bet you're super excited to go see them too. So he hopped in the car. We drove to the school. I got out of the car to go actually check them out and pick them up. And as soon as he saw them through the window coming to the car, he started going bananas, huh? He started going crazy because he loves his sisters. He loves those girls. To the point where also, like, I think he also knows the days in which they go to their mom's house. So, like, for example, the girls will be with me for 7 days straight, and we'll just do the whole thing here at my house. But then we do exchanges on Sundays. So the Sunday leading up to 6 o'clock when we do on our exchanges, I could just tell Zeusy boy starts getting a little sad, huh? He's starting getting a little bummed, and there'll even be times when their mom or whoever will come pick them up from my house, knock on the door. Okay, girls, love you. Have a good week. They go out the door into their mom's car, and they'll drive away. And he will legit like just sit by the front door, staring at the door, thinking that maybe, hopefully, the girls just went outside to get something, or maybe they're just playing outside for a moment, or they're whatever, and they're gonna come back in. Or sometimes he'll like run to the window and peek out the window, and he'll just kind of do that for like what, maybe like 30 minutes, sometimes to an hour, because he misses his sisters. He doesn't like it when they leave. Then to the opposite, whenever they do come home, he sees them and he starts going crazy and he starts freaking out. And he sleeps in a crate during the night. He's crate trained. So he does that every single night. And the weeks that the girls are with their mom, he'll go in the crate. He'll be fine. He won't whimper. He won't whine. He'll just go to bed and be like, all right, dad, I'm good. Peace. Good night. Talk to you tomorrow. But the week that the girls are here with me, putting him in his crate and making him go to bed, it's a little bit more challenging because he will whine and he'll cry for like 10 minutes. He'll throw a fit because how old are you, Zeus? You're going to be, I think he's like, yeah, he's one. So we got him like right before he turned 1 years old last year. So he's going to be two this year. So he's still just a little guy, huh? You're not an old man yet. You're still just a little guy. He's just like having another kid in my house. So just like any kids, when they don't want to go to bed and they don't want to do something, they'll whine, they'll throw a fit, they'll do the whole 9 yards, and he'll do that. But he'll only do that during the week when the girls are home and they're getting ready for bed and so what have you. So he's just like, I want to keep hanging out with my sisters. I don't want to go to bed. I want to keep partying. And I'm just like, no, Zeus, they're going to bed too. I'm going to bed. It's bedtime. We all have to go to bed. But he loves his sisters very, very much. Not saying he doesn't love me, huh? You love your old man, but he knows that I'm dad, and dad has to set the rules, and dad has to be the authority, and dad has to be the voice of reason. And even this morning, he got in trouble because he pooped in my room, huh? Oh, was I not supposed to say that? He's like, bro, don't be airing out all my crap like that for the people. But it's true, and you did. So, gotta be real with the people, Zeus. Where we keep things a buck here on the Single Parents Podcast. You know that. You've heard the show. You've turned on automatic downloads for yourself. So yeah, he loves me. He loves spending time with me, but there is just something different about when he gets to be around his sisters, huh? You love when your sisters are here, and he gets bummed when his sisters aren't here. So I was just thinking about all that from his perspective, the week on, week off things, having the girls here sometimes, having them here not some of the times, and him even being an animal, using air quotes, like he's an animal, but he still feels those emotions. He still feels the love. He still misses them. He still kind of goes through the roller coaster in his own way that I kind of even go through when I have to say goodbye to the girls for a few days, or when I get to see the girls after having them for a few days and all of that stuff. So it's just interesting that this life, as hot and awesome as it is one that can just impact a lot of different people in different ways, including our pets, right? Including our pets. So, what about you all? Do your pets respond to maybe you're in a co-parenting situation like me? Do your pets kind of notice when your little ones come and go? Do they respond to that? Would your little homies be able to relate with Zeus here? I want to know. So just shoot me a DM. Let's talk about our pets for a little bit. Use the email, the singleparentspodcast@gmail.com. Send me the pictures of your pets. I'll share them with Zeus. And then maybe if you have a cute girl dog, I'll see what Zeus thinks, because Zeus needs a girlfriend, huh, Zeus? Yeah. Yo, you right? Ooh. He said yes. He said, send me those pics. He said, slide into my DMs. That's my boy, Zeus. Chip off the old block.
Something to think about.
All right, so here's the thing with this next segment. You all know me. We've been doing this for a minute now. You know that I like to keep things upbeat and positive and hot and fun, and because that's just the single parent life, right? Like it could be all of those things, even though it has its ups and downs and challenges and exhausting days. It can still be legit, and we celebrate those things here on the show, and we'll talk more about some of those legit aspects of it in the next segment. But I just got to get real for a sec. We're gonna shift gears when it comes to the mood of the show for a sec, because I gotta be real, and I gotta talk about something that really just pisses me off, to be honest. So we're gonna get real for a sec. All right. Let's see. So basically, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Talking to a friend this week, and single mom, just talking to her about what's been up, how things have ended for her in 2023, what's, the whole thing, just catching up, right? And basically, she shared the fact that her son's dad, co-parenting situation, um, just up and decided that he really just didn't want to be around anymore. Like no real reason, no big thing that kind of led up to it, no big event, nothing crazy. Just one day he was there, he was involved, he was co-parenting. The next day she's like, I didn't hear from him. Didn't hear from him the next day. Didn't hear from him the day after that, and now it's been 3 months and no idea where he is, what he's doing. He's not paying child support, he's not calling, he's not whatever, he's just bounced. And it's like, as far as I know, like, again, nothing traumatic has happened. I don't he's not in the hospital, he didn't go through a loss, he's not taking care of his mental health. He's just decided he's just done, I guess. And then I was talking. Actually, I just thought of this as I was sharing that story. I was talking to another friend, and she's dealing with a lot of stuff with her kids' dad. And basically, they have a lot of drama. And every time they have drama, and every time he doesn't get his way, he essentially threatens just to not be a dad anymore. He's like, well, if you're going to go do XYZ, then I'm just not going to show up, and I'm just going to be done, and I'm just going to, like, he legit chooses to use that as like a threat, right? To blackmail or guess whatever you want to say about it. Sorry, Zeus is still here from the first segment, so if you hear him snoring right here, just let him be. He did good. We're proud of him. But anyways, so man, talking to both of my friends basically back to back this week, hearing about the fact that there's legit, and I'm going to say parents, because I was talking to a couple single moms, and so their experiences with their um kids' dad. So that's their reality, but I know it can go both ways. I've talked to single dads who are have been or currently are in situations where the mom is kind of pulling some of the same stuff, just not around, just off, just kind of just whatever about her parenting role. So it goes both ways. So just so we're clear, we don't get things twisted, what I'm about to say, what I'm kind of building up to, goes to both sides, talking to moms and talking to dads who are going to fall in this category. But thinking about the wild reality that there are actually people out there, parents out there, who at a whim can just say, you know what, I'm done. I'm walking away. I don't really care. I'm not really concerned with spending time with my son or with my daughter or with my children. I'll just kind of go about doing me for months at a time or sometimes years at a time, and then when it's convenient and when I feel like it and when I'm not fighting with the other parent and I'm getting my way, then I'll show up, then I'll try to be the mom, or then I'll try to be the dad again. But on the regular, on the normal days, on the Monday through Fridays, in and outs, I'll just kind of just walk away, basically. I'll just disappear. I'll just kind of not be around at all, not even call, not even do anything. I'm just going to bounce. The fact that there are people out there who can do that absolutely freaking blows my mind. Like, I spent days just trying to even rationally conceive a scenario in which I could even understand how that might be possible. Because again, I'm going to be very clear. Be very clear. So I know there are times when maybe a mom or a dad, and maybe in a co-parenting situation, because that's kind of the context that we're talking about, just need some time to maybe go take care of their mental health or maybe their physical health, or maybe they're just kind of going through some stuff, and so they need to work it out with the other parent. Like, hey, yes, I want to spend time with my son or daughter, but I just need a period of time to make things right within my own life. So that way, when I do spend time with my kid, it could be in a healthy, safe, positive way. So let's work together to achieve that. Cool. That's awesome. 100%. That's great. We talked about that on the show last week. Sometimes we got to do what we got to do to get ourselves right so we can show up and be a healthy parent. That's great. That's not what we're talking about. And you guys know who I'm talking about and what I'm talking about. We're talking about the trash parents who just say, out of selfishness, laziness, envy, pride, whatever selfish emotion you want to throw in there, out of their own trash selves, just choose to say, I'm out. I don't really care. I'll come around whenever it's convenient. I'll show up whenever I feel like it. I'll go months and months without even talking to my kid and then come back like it's no big deal. Like, I don't understand. I legit don't understand. Maybe somebody needs to help me. Maybe somebody needs to educate me. Maybe I'm missing something. But as a single dad, as a dad, forget the single dad, but as a dad, as a parent, the thought of willingly going weeks or months without seeing or talking to my girls is something that I just can't even comprehend. I can't even see a life where that's even possible. Like, it would literally kill me to go. It literally hurts to go a few days without talking to them. Like, maybe they're off doing something with their mom, or maybe I'm sick or busy and I just, life gets in the way and I haven't called in like a couple of days, or we just haven't, for something, whatever, we just haven't talked in like 2 days. Like, let's just say 2 days. After those 2 days, I, like, my soul, my everything, like, I just need to talk to my kids, and I just want to just see how they're, at least just see how they're doing, to hear their voice, even if they just text me a pic. The other week they were at their mom's and they were like doing some kind of party in their room with like LED lights. I don't know, they're just being crazy, but they're sending me pics and videos and stuff like that, and like, that lifted me up because I hadn't seen them in a few days. And so getting pictures of them, talking to them about the little party they were throwing in their room, like, it literally like made my whole day. So, and that's just something small. So to think about willingly, to actively choose on purpose, intentionally, to go weeks and months without even talking to my kid, trying to be involved in the life of my kid, I don't get it. And I don't understand how these trash parents, I use the word parent loosely. I just need to start throwing up air quotes when I talk about these people. How they even do it. Like, you have to be at a level of selfishness that I just don't get to pull that off. Like, you just have to just not care. I don't know. You just have to be at a certain place in your own life where you just don't care about the fact that you're in your kids' life or not. And I just don't get that. And so those people out there who, maybe you're listening to this, maybe this is going to be some hard truth, but I really don't care. You need to hear this. If that is you, you are trash. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. Actually, I'm going to say it again with my chest held high. If that is you, you are trash. If you have a kid who is always waiting to hang out with you, gets excited to talk to you, who loves you, who still looks up to you, who wants to be involved in your life. If you have somebody like that waiting for you and you just simply choose not to be around, you are trash. Yeah, I'm going to keep saying it. Again, to be very clear, we're not talking about people in situations where they just need some time to take care of some business. We are talking about people who legit choose just to be selfish in this way. Trash, trash, trash. Oh, but Anthony, you don't understand. You see, dealing with the other parent is just such a headache, and they're so rude, and they're this, and they're a jerk, and they're that, and so it's just easier not to be around. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's not an excuse. Sure, yes, things can be dramatic and complicated when it comes to co-parenting. Like, it's not always sunshine and cupcakes. But in my opinion, you still just gotta grow up. You gotta put on your big girl pants or big boy pants, and you still gotta show up for the kid. Because at the end of the day, it's not even about the other parent. We're not worried about them at the end of the day. It's about the kid, right? It's about your kid and your relationship with your kid. If you are able to show up and provide a safe and healthy relationship with your kid, and you just choose not to do it because you don't want to deal with the drama of the other person, or you're too busy, or you have this going on, or you just don't feel like it, or you just want to travel, or you're dating somebody else and that's taking up your focus and all this stuff. Say it one more time for the people in the back. You are trash. You're trash. Round of applause and flowers to the parents who do choose to show up for their kids, even when it's hard, even when it's inconvenient, even when there's other things you might honestly want to do at that time. You're still showing up. You're still fulfilling your role. You're still being loving and providing for that kid. You're still doing the best you can. And I'm not even saying in some circumstances that needs to be like for a full week, every other week, like my circumstance. Maybe in your dynamic, your participation in that role through the courts or just whatever you have set up means that you get to be in your kid's life, like what, every other weekend or even like a couple of times a month, what have you. If you choose just to diminish and water down and put on those on the back burner, those specific times a month you can have with your kid, trash. But if you say, you know what, I have 2 Saturdays a month with my son or with my daughter or with my kids. I know on paper that doesn't sound like a lot, but you better believe I am going to give everything I can to enjoying that time with my son, with my daughter, with my children on those 2 Saturdays a month. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to be present. I'm going to be involved throughout the month. I'm going to just do whatever I can / allowed to do legally, like if that means phone calls and if that means, staying current on birthdays and what's going on in school, whatever you're able to do, you're just saying, this is what I can do. I'm going to show up and I'm going to do the best I can with that. And doing the best you can doesn't mean perfect. Like I said, there's days where stuff just kind of goes down and then I'm busy with work and I'm doing this and I look at the clock and it's like 8 o'clock at night and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't call the girls today. And they're getting ready for bed, so I don't want to kind of disrupt their routine. They might already be in bed. Those days happen. Those days are understandable. Like, we're all human. We're all just doing our best. But there's a difference between, shoot, man, lost track of the time, didn't get to talk to my kids today, versus like, well, I'm not going to do it today because the mom is just being a total, what, or the dad, I'm not dealing with it, or they'll be fine, or they like it better at their mom's house anyways, or I just don't want to. I don't know. I just don't get it. At the end of the day, I just don't get how there can be, again, air quote, parents out there who purposely make those type of choices. And so hopefully, if you're listening to this and you are parenting in a trash way that I've described, just know it's not too late, because again, nobody's perfect. We're all doing the best we can, but sometimes doing the best we can means understanding that we can do better, that we're not doing things the right way, that we need to be mature and we need to be unselfish and we need to show up. It's a brand new year, so perfect time to make amends, perfect time to start fresh. It's never too late. So maybe this is you hearing this and you're on the keyboard now, ready to type up your big long email and be like, "You don't know me. You can't call me trash. You piece of whatever." I just did, and just know I'm doing it because I guess I care. I care about us doing the best we can as single parents for ourselves and for our kids. And so if this is like a wake up call, then that's good. I'm not going to apologize for that. If this offends you, then sorry, I guess. Like, sorry you're offended by me saying you should show up and love your kids. Like, oops. Ugh. But, anyways, if you are a parent who's showing up, doing the best you can with what you got, no matter what it's not about the quantity, because maybe sometimes you just don't have a lot of that, but if you're doing the best with the quality time that you have and you're providing, and heck, maybe that even just doesn't even mean like, hey, I get my kids a couple times a month, so I don't get to spend a lot of time with them, but I am keeping up on like child support if I can. I am knowing what's going on in their school. I'm doing the phone calls. You're doing the best you can. If that's you, awesome. We love it. We love to see it. If that's not you and you're selfish and you're being a piece of trash, then you are trash.
Something to be encouraged by.
So, as a podcast, we are officially like a month into our hot era, as I described on the first episode of 2024. In case you missed it, this year on the show, we are doing everything we can just to hype us up as single parents, to remind us that we are legit, we are baddies, we are hot, we are doing this thing, we are strong, we can hold our head up high. There's nothing wrong with us. We are not less than as single parents. We are all that, because a lot of single parent content out there, a lot of stuff revolving around single parents out there. It's just such a downer, such a drag sometimes. It's always woe is me, but we're not doing that on this show this year. We're talking about the realities of the life, as we kind of just did in a very strong way in that last segment. But we're also reminding ourselves throughout it that we are hot. And so I made that statement, I made that claim, I'll say it like that, on the first episode of 2024. And I kind of just set the tone, set the vision, but I really didn't go into much detail backing up that claim as far as explaining how exactly we are hot and baddies as single parents, because we are, and I think we can kind of see that, for sure, for sure, for sure. But I was like, you know what, like, we need to get into some specifics as to how exactly we are. So like I grew up in like a pretty like religious setting, growing up, religious background, stuff like that. And I don't know if you've ever been to like church and stuff like that, but there are often times in like even like religion where they'll like make some very like nice sounding claims. They'll throw out these platitudes and throw out these cool like statements that sound good on Twitter. But a lot of times they'll kind of just put them out there, but not really like follow up with any type of like real solid fact. And so I didn't want to just throw out the claim of like, we're hot single parents without giving it some backing. So in this last segment right now, I'm going to provide you all 5 solid reasons as to why we are hot as single parents. You ready? Let's get into it. Number 1, we are hot as single parents, and it is hot to be a single parent because being a single parent means that we just have a little bit more love to give our kids than maybe some others, because our love doesn't have to be divided between a spouse or a partner and then our kid and then also ourselves and whatever. It doesn't have to be divvied up like that. It can often, if it's a single parent household, be like, hey, I have myself. I'm going to provide myself self-care, self-love, and then all that's left, I'm going to make sure I'm pouring that into my kid, that makes sure that they feel loved and seen and secured and all that. And then of course, we have our pets, we have other stuff like that, but it just means that we have more time and energy and attention to pour into our relationship with our kids and ourselves. Now, I want to be very clear, like if you are in a relationship and you're listening to this, or you choose to get into a relationship one day, this isn't to like bash people who are in relationships and say that you're doing it wrong and blah 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 blah. We're not making any statements like that. This is just saying, hey, if you are a single parent, and for right now at least, and you're choosing to do that for right now at least, could change later, could not. But if that is your reality right now, then it's cool, the fact that, yeah, you just have to focus on yourself and you focus on your kids. And at the end of the day, that's all that you're really responsible for. And you get to actually utilize that time and energy in those directions in a way that I think can kind of be beneficial, at least for the time being. Number two reason why we are hot as single parents and why it is hot to be a single parent is because we can still experience what I call that new, those new aspects of life, like meeting new people, going on dates, uh, trying to figure out navigate Tinder even though people don't reply. Sometimes if you are in like a co-parenting situation where you don't always have your kids with you, you're still able to maybe go out and do events, or maybe even travel and do the things that maybe you still want to do, because yes, you are a parent and you have responsibilities and you have things to figure out in that dynamic. But being a single parent means that you can still put yourself out there. You can kind of still see what's up. You can kind of shake things up. Once again, we love our friends in relationships, our married friends, our two-parent household friends. But I'm sure even some of them would admit that sometimes being in a settled, committed relationship often means it's really easy for things just to kind of turn into the typical rut and standard of this is what we do. We go to work, we come home, maybe we'll go on a date night every now and again, but we have to kind of try to keep the spark going because we kind of settled and we kind of become content. And there's just different aspects of that phase of life that has to be navigated for sure. But as single parents, we can keep that new, we can keep that fresh, we can look forward to 2024 saying, I wonder what's going to come my way. I wonder who I'm going to meet. I wonder who I'm going to hook up with. I wonder who I'm going to encounter when I choose to go out and do this for myself or that for myself. I can't wait to see what that new is going to bring. And that kind of, I guess, goes into number three reason why we are hot and why it is hot to be a single parent is I just say, we still get to do us. Like, once again, in a committed long term relationship, I know people who just really have to like work and put an intentionality behind still making sure that they're doing the things they want to do and experiencing the things they want to experience, or heck, even watching the things that they want to watch on TV. Like there has to be compromises and conversations about that. Or I'll talk to a friend in a relationship and be like, oh, hey, did you catch the game last night or whatever? And they'd be like, no, because the wife or the girlfriend wanted to watch the new Netflix reality show. That's probably more realistic as to what I would be watching too. But for the sake of the illustration, like, no, I didn't because she wanted to watch this, and so whatever. But being a single parent means like, hey, if I want to do something at the end of the day, I put my kids down to bed. I have the TV, I have the remote in hand. I get to say, what do I want to watch? What do I want to make for dinner? Where do I want to go on vacation? What do I want to do for the holidays? How do I want to spend my money? What do I want to wear? Who do I want to talk to? I mean, you get it. You get to do you, and not even just that, like experiences and like little stuff like that. But what I found is pretty cool is that over the last 5 years, as a single parent, 5 or 6 years now, I've been able just to do me as far as like getting to know myself, figuring out who Anthony is outside of trying to figure that out, as well as building and establishing and growing and cultivating a relationship with somebody else. I just have, maybe this kind of goes back to the first point, but I just have the space just to get to know me, to date me, I guess some people say, to kind of see, well, what does Anthony like to watch? What does Anthony like to do for fun? What does Anthony like to eat? What does Anthony what makes Anthony sad? What makes him happy? What makes him this? What makes him that? So hopefully, ideally, this is kind of how I see it. If and when I do choose to get into a long term committed relationship, hopefully I'll be able to enter it with a really legit understanding of myself and how I function and how I think and what makes me tick and how I relate and how I communicate. So that way, hopefully, me and my future partner, we're able to navigate a lot of those things. Not saying it's going to be perfect, but we're able to navigate those things, hopefully in a healthy way, because I have spent a good amount of time getting to know me and understanding me so I can articulate some of those things in the future with her. So, yeah, you get to do you. And I think doing you is a hot thing to do. Number 4 reason why it's hot to be a single parent, why you are hot as a single parent, is because you are just freaking strong at the end of the day. Just, I don't think we hear that enough as SPs. We are strong people. Maybe physically strong, like maybe not me, I need to go to the gym, but maybe that's you. Maybe you're physically strong, but like mentally and emotionally, we're some strong people, because think about all the stuff that we have to navigate on a daily basis alone oftentimes. Not saying we don't always have help, or we don't often have help, or we can't have help, but for the most part, it's usually just us, right? So we wake up and we got to get the kids ready for school by ourselves, and we got to work, and we got to do the budget, and then we got to figure out dinner, and then we got to make sure the laundry's done, and we got to make sure that's done, and we got to help with homework, and we got to stay social with our friends, and we got to email this person back, and we need to take care of sick kids alone, and we got to make sure we ourselves are being taken care of. We got to do all that stuff ourselves. And that's a lot, right? And that's a lot. But oftentimes we dig down deep, we find the strength and the ability to do it. And for me, what I've been just kind of doing at the end of the day is looking back at the day, all the stuff I had to figure out, and all the stuff I had to do in the early mornings, and answering a million questions from the kids and responding to teachers and all that stuff. Looking back at the end of the day, and I could be like, you know what, that was a lot. Not gonna deny that. That was a lot. And tomorrow's gonna be a lot. But as far today's concerned, it's kind of cool knowing that even though that was a lot, I was still able to do it. I was still able to handle it all. And you know what? Tomorrow's gonna be same hill to climb, but I know I'm gonna climb it, and I'm gonna keep climbing it because I got this. And not saying that climb is gonna be perfect, but I'm gonna climb it doing the best climb that I can. And at the end of each day, I'm going to look down at the bottom of the hill knowing that, hey, I stumbled a couple of times. I got messy, tripped in some mud a couple of times, but I made it to the top of the hill. And that's pretty badass. So don't forget how strong, especially when it is just you in the home as the adult, because oftentimes you gotta play so many different roles and wear so many different hats, and you gotta juggle a million different things. But if you're doing that, and you're doing it to the best of your ability, and your kids are doing their thing, and everybody's safe and happy and fed and roof over your head and bills are paid and what have you, then that to me is the definition of some real strength. So you keep that up. And then the last reason as to why being a single parent is hot, why we are hot as single parents, is just because I think we are actually a part of like a real movement, especially going forward in our country, when it comes to the conversation around traditional ideals that we were kind of instilled with as kids, or our parents were instilled with as kids. We're kind of talking about like, okay, sure, those are some nice things, great things to strive for, but like, do those things ultimately lead to happiness, success, fulfillment automatically just by getting those things? Some of those traditional things that you're kind of just told growing up you need to strive for. I don't think so. I really don't think so. Some of those traditional things that were kind of instilled with, right, being like, hey, you just need to grow up and finish school and go to college, and then you'll meet somebody, and then you'll get married, and then you'll get a house, and then you'll have a white picket fence and 2.5 kids and a dog, and that's the American dream, and it's all great, and it's this and it's that. Like, right? Like, to some degree, we've all heard that, and we've been kind of conditioned, right, to assume that that's true about life, right? But for me, I'll just speak for myself. Like, I literally had basically all that happen fall into a row to where I legit had a white picket fence in front of my house. Had the house, had the wife, had the dog, had the 2.5 kids. And it didn't lead to guaranteed happiness and success and fulfillment. Like, in my context, it kind of ended in a pretty like tough way, and now I'm in a less than traditional situation, less than traditional household, single dad, 2 kids, a dog, house, but no picket fence, nothing like that. But like, if you'd ask me which version of Anthony is happier, more fulfilled, the white picket fence Anthony or the Anthony now that you see in front of you on this podcast, I'm gonna say it's this one, because I really am striving to do things in a way that me myself are gonna find fulfillment in, rather than what I'm told this is what's going to bring it. This is what the tradition is. This is what the values of America say it needs to be. And so I think just being a single parent in general, because there's a lot of people who are choosing to be single parents nowadays, or stepping out of unhealthy, toxic relationships a lot faster nowadays, because we're understanding that, hey, just because like we were told growing up, this Disney version of life and family needs to be how it is, doesn't mean that needs to be how it is. Like, I don't need to stay in this unhealthy, abusive, toxic relationship just because the stigma of being a single parent or being divorced or being whatever out there is on some of those words. Like, no, I'm not doing it. Or it could be like, hey, I told all my life I need to be in a relationship, but I just don't want to. I'm fine doing stuff myself. And so I'm going to do it myself. And people might look at me weird because it is just me as a single mom raising kids. But you know what? That's what I need to do. That's what's bringing me that fulfillment. And I'm doing it. We're strong. Kids are taken care of. There's nothing going down. And so I just think that we as single parents, we get to stand strong. We get to stand strong knowing that, hey, if you choose to go the more traditional route in life, and that brings you fulfillment, and you're doing it, and you're doing it well, cool, awesome, fantastic. Round of applause to you. That's great. But if you realize that some of those more traditional values and mindsets just don't work for you, or haven't worked for you, or at least aren't working for you right now, and you need to make some adjustments, then you can do it and you can thrive at it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's not going to hurt anybody or mess up your kids or whatever. I'll tell you what will mess up your kids: thinking that you need to stay in toxic, unhealthy, more traditional situations just to uphold the American family values or whatever, but it leads to nothing but unhealth within the home. Yeah, that's not great for your kids. No, no, no. Then that's when the tradition needs to be broken down. But as long as you're showing up, you're doing your best, you're loving your kids well, you're providing them a happy, healthy, safe, positive environment, then that is hot. And you, single parents, are hot. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Single Parents Podcast. I need to get ready to go get my kids. They're coming home tonight. Tomorrow they don't have school because it's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Shout out, by the way, Dr. King. Probably wouldn't have the specific kids that I have without your work. So thank you. But yeah, I'm going to go clean. I'm going to go make some beds. I'm going to get ready to see my kids. I hope you all have a fantastic week going forward. We'll see you back here next time. And until next time, my name's Anthony, and you all out there, just stay beautiful. Bye.